she's straightening her stockings. Her hair has gotten wet. Oh, this rain, it will continue through the morning as I'm listening to the bells of the cathedral.
Five, four, three, two, one.
Yo, mic check, mic check.
The top 5 at 5 on today's trending stories.
Let's get it going.
The top 5 at 5 on the Smooth Drive.
Listening to Smooth, 98.1. I love music, love life. It's time for Top 5 at 5.
Top 5.
All right, we're going to get started. But you can join the conversation or share with us your comment or analysis on the top 5 trending stories we shall be taking today. All right, so our WhatsApp number is 0809-444-0981. We see your message or your voice note from George from Area 51 or 54. We're going to take it a bit later, okay? So, but keep your messages coming when it pertaining the traffic. All right, so traffic situation at your neck of wood, we'd like to know, so please send them. Want to see them.
All right, let's start off with the first story, shall we? First story is let's see now, should we talk about drug abuse or should we talk about the e-Naira? Let's talk about the e-Naira. Okay, so the e-Naira has been having some challenges on the Google Play Store, and according to the story here, it says e-Naira app taken down from Google Play Store days after it was launched by President Buhari. Now, here's what's going on generally. Generally, the CBN has taken it down from Google Play Store because it's been receiving negative reviews from Nigerians who have been trying to create an account. Now, reacting to the claims that the app was taken down by Google from Play Store, for violating its policies, which includes functionality, Osita Mausibo, spokesperson for the CBN, told the cable that the removal was to help the Apex Bank upgrade the app's functionalities. Now, I read deeply into this. So far, though, the application for merchants, which is called the e-Naira basically, which is Speed Merchant Wallet, is still available for download. Okay. So it's had about 10,000 downloads. Long story short, here's what I'm trying to say. Some people are trying to link their BVNs with their names, and it's not matching correctly. So it's saying that, you should contact, from the reviews that's been listed, contact the bank, your names are generally not matching. It's asking for 2 names as opposed to 3 names, So there's a lot of back and forth, and people are complaining about the same thing, okay? So they've taken it down to work on it. And I imagine that this is a bad thing, but also this is a good thing, because if they could quickly spot this at the early stages, then, they can work on it. It just begs the question that, so is it that, the BVN, the names are not linking with the BVN database? That means that they now have to look deeply into that database, work on it to perfect it, and then bring it back for the e-wallet to work properly. Outside that, though, I hope that they can find a way around this, because there's a lot of fanfare. The e-wallet itself looks like it's really promising, so I'm looking forward to positive reviews when they do put it back up again.
I think we should also give them maybe a benefit of doubt, given that this is like a beta version of it. Yes. Yeah. So normally when it comes to apps, you have to first of all give it to beta users to try and see where because again, there's just so much your eye can see, especially for developers. So they try to give it to users. They put out a beta version and other versions before they have a full version of the app. Unfortunately, I don't know who the team were for this. They should have gotten a group of people to first of all test it to see how it is. Beta users, try it, test it before launching it full on. But again, it's a learning curve for them. I hope that they get it right the second time. Let's move on to COVID.
1 star, just 1 star.
Wow. Let's move on to COVID, shall we? So for COVID vaccines, we've been hearing more and more about having children getting vaccinated for COVID, especially in the Europe and developed countries. Well, the FDA panel has now approved Pfizer jabs for children from 5 years and above. Okay, so pediatric doctors could soon find themselves on the front lines of a U.S. government plan to get some 28 million school-aged children in line for their coronavirus jabs. Advisory boards to the Food and Drug Administration and the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention in the USA on Tuesday decided that the benefits of jabbing children between 5 and 11 years.
Jabbing children.
Yeah, it's jabs.
I know,
Yeah.
but yes, that sounds jabbing children.
Between American English is just really weird. They could have just said
You know the funny
inoculated.
thing? There's a book called Jab, 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 Right Hook. It's by Gary Vaynerchuk. Very nice book.
I like it. Jab, 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 then you right hook. Nice. Anyway, moving on. So decided that the benefits of jabbing children between 5 and 11 years old with Pfizer vaccine outweigh any other health risks. So the decision now awaits a further approval from the full FDA and CDC, but both agencies are expected to follow the vaccines panel's recommendations. So data from the company's clinical trials found that a pediatric dose of the vaccine, 1/3 of that given to adults and adolescents, was safe and 90% effective for children. If health officials approve the jab, 15 million doses will go out to pediatric offices, children's hospitals, and pharmacies around the country. And I had to read that 15 million doses out because, I don't know, Nigeria, how much did we get?
Not enough.
Almighty.
Not enough, clearly. But let's talk about football. Okay, so good news for Barcelona fans. They sacked Ronald Koeman, but that's old story. So the new story is that they have a club legend that's going to be the new manager. His name is Xavi. He's agreed to become the new boss, and but they've got to pay a payout clause to the Saudi club that he's already managing, which is called Al Assad, right? Al Sadd. They need to pay £840,000. Okay. Now I see a lot of Barcelona fans jubilating because first things first, I don't even know how they employed Ronald Koeman. His style of football is not tiki-taka, it's kick and follow, right? So I don't know how his style would fit into what they do in Spain. That was a wrong hire. Now, when you hire people, that was an error, But now they're bringing Xavi in. So Xavi is a legend, like I mentioned. He knows the club. He's played with all the greats, and he knows the club philosophy. But generally, they're saying now that there's that clause from Al Sadd, and there might be a gentleman's agreement. So he might actually they might actually overlook the clause of them not paying £840,000. That's Barcelona paying it now. But other ways, they might unveil him 4th of November. So he still has to play one more game with the club, and then join the Spanish Giants. So we'll see where this goes. But I think when he does join, we'll see a shape up in how Barcelona's team looks like in the coming games.
Nice. Let's move on to, Halloween is just around the corner, and you know how it is in the abroads or overseas. A number of children will be in Halloween uniforms or costumes. When a thing is starting to trend in pop culture, everyone seems to want to wear it. But 3 primary schools in New York State have banned Halloween costumes from the hit Netflix series Squid Game over fears they could glorify violence. And I'm like, what about Scream?
Well, there's that.
How about Freddy Krueger?
Well, those ones are different. Right?
How about
for Squid Game? It's what's trending right now, and they don't want all these kids out there to replicate it. So I think, in a way,
people running around with knives and
they're
the entire thing about Halloween is just
It's a
scary, and
time.
it's like it's violence. Anyway, the South African Korean thriller series tells the stories of debt-ridden people competing for a huge cash prize in a deadly series of children's game. Its gory content had prompted the schools to email parents about the show's violent messages. They said Squid Game's outfits at school events would be inappropriate. Schools in New York's Lafayetteville, Malus school districts have guidelines banning Halloween outfits with items that can be interpreted as weapons.
Okay.
And those that are too gory or scary, that's what the superintendent of the schools told CBS News. He also said that pupils that had been reenacting scenes from the series had break times, and principals had warned parents that games associated with violent behavior are not appropriate. In the U.S., the series is rated for mature audiences by Netflix, meaning that the show may not be suitable for ages of 17 and under, but some parents are reportedly unhappy with the school costumes ban. And I'm like, why? Another parent called the ban overbearing. Meanwhile, in England, teachers have warned about children as young as 6 acting out games from the series. Earlier this month, a particular council told parents to be vigilant about the dangers of their children replicating games from the Squid Game program. All right. Well, last story here, and this time it's all the way in the United States, as they have issued its first gender-neutral passport. The document has an X in the gender box, signaling that the holder does not identify as either male or female. It was issued to Dana ZZYYM, a 66-year-old intersex activist who sued the State Department over the issue in 2015. The person is also the U.S. Navy. This person, I don't know, there's no he or she. This person is a U.S. Navy veteran, and they said it was an exciting moment for them after getting the new passport, and they're saying that they get to go to places and say, yes, this is who I am. XYMM identifies as non-binary and was previously denied a passport after failing to mark male or female in an application before getting the new passport. So ZYMM said it felt like, he was in prison. Oh, they were in prison, I beg your pardon. And they were like, you are denied a status of being human, and it's like, I'm not a citizen of this country because I was denied access to leave, and only felons and prisoners are not allowed to travel. So there you have it. That's all the top 5 stories I got for you.
Top five. In a few more minutes, we're going to give you the Smooth Health. Okay, we're going to be giving vouchers on the show as well. We're talking nuclear medicine on the show today, and we would love for you to, be a part of our conversation and, get the details and learn a thing or two and add your 2 cents, like our contributions, we always call them. So stay with us. We're back after this.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Yo, mic check.
The top 5 at 5 on today's trending stories.
Let's get it going.
The top 5 at 5 on the Smooth Drive. Every weekday from 5 p.m.
Smooth 98.1.
Ooh, it's something magical.
Love music, love life.
Love music, love life.
Hey, it just feels good. 98.1.
Smooth. 98.1.
With Airtel Home Broadband device, your home is connected and you all can focus on the important things in life. Enjoy the finer things in life in the Airtel HBB seasonal offer. Visit any certified Airtel shop to get a 4G MiFi at 9,999 Naira plus up to 55 gigabyte bonus data, or router at 19,999 Naira plus up to 160 gigabyte bonus data. Offer valid while stock lasts. Terms and conditions apply.
Airtel, the smartphone network.
Are you considering studying in the UK? Join Coventry University in 2022 to enhance your career prospects. Speak to Coventry University staff at our free event on Saturday, 13th of November 2021, 5 to 7 p.m. in Lagos. Learn about available courses, 2-year post-study work visa, and student life. Register today by visiting www.coventry.ac.uk/Nigeria.
my feet. It was always near. You appeared in the light. Can I make it right this time? Whoa, whoa, this time. Two-way love affair. Ain't no time to care. Two-way love affair. Ain't no love to spare. Two-way love affair. Knew that I was struck. I had to try my luck. Giving love a chance. Looking for romance. So love music. Love life. Smooth 98.1.
Smooth Health on the Drive.
It's a global observation that helps raise people's awareness.
Insightful tips and information to live in a healthier and happier life.
How to prevent it, detect or treat it.
Smooth Health is powered by Evercare Hospital, Lekki, transforming healthcare in Nigeria.
If you didn't know, now you know.
This is Smooth Health on the Drive.
We're in.
And you're listening to Smooth 98.1. Love music, love life. It is a smooth drive, and you are welcome to the show. We're inside of Smooth Health on the Drive. My name is Judith Achibi.
I'm Kaidi Baker, and of course we have a very special guest in the studio with us here. We're doing selfies. That's why it feels as though there's a lot of talk at the background. But yeah, long story short, we're talking about the role of diagnostic medicine, or rather the role diagnostic medicine plays in the efficiency of treatment options and patient outcomes. And we would love for you to be a part of our conversation, so please reach out to us on the regular platforms, which is 0809-444-0981. That's for WhatsApp. However, you can also call the studio lines. Call the number 01448991. We're giving first three callers or first three texters vouchers worth 10,000 naira courtesy Evercare Hospital.
So today we have a very special guest joining us today to talk to us about nuclear medicine and the role of the role diagnostic medicine plays in the efficiency of treatment options and patient outcome. We have Dr. Jeffrey Adam Joma. He is joining us from Evercare Hospital. So a bit background about him. Dr. Jeffrey Joma concluded his graduate medical degree training at College of Medicine, University of Malawi, class of 2011, with a Master of Medicine in Nuclear Medicine from Stella Bosch University, as well as becoming a Fellow of the College of Nuclear Physicians of South Africa, both in 2019. His MMED research work led to a publication in the European Journal of Vascular and Endovascular Surgery, an abstract in EAN 2018 awarded Best E-Poster Africa Region. He worked as a nuclear medicine consultant at Kamuzu Central Hospital in Malawi, nuclear medicine resident at Tygerberg Hospital, South Africa, and district medical officer at Mangochi, Malawi. He just joined Evercare Hospital this year, 2021.
And it looks like he's having a good time here.
He is. Doctor, you're welcome to the show.
Thank you very much.
Why are you all so quiet? He's a bit of a troublesome person.
No, he's not. You can't say our guest is troublesome. How dare you?
He is troublesome.
Doctor, you're welcome to the show.
Well, thank you again.
Thank you.
All right, guys, don't forget, once again, it's 0809-44 01440981. So, doctor, let's just start off with the obvious question, right? The first one. What is diagnostic medicine, or better yet, what is medical diagnosis?
Starting me off easy, I see.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Thanks. All right. So it is what it sounds like. It's a medical practice of identifying, or let's say diagnosing, a disease or condition. The term really encompasses a lot of things. We start off clinically, and then we end off with various investigations. So lots to talk about.
Yeah. Okay. Start off clinically and end up with a lot of investigations.
Yes.
Is it something people should be worried about?
No, not at all. Not at all. It's basically unveiling the curtain of what happens behind the scenes of all hospitals.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So now that we're talking about unveiling the scenes of what's happening behind, though, we understand that there are different types of diagnostics. So please, can you break it down to us in layman's terms, right, for the non-medical listeners out there?
All right. Love to. We can start off quite broad. There is a whole bunch of things that come in here, but we can look at it in two avenues. Diagnostics can be looked at, those that come from the lab. So you have lab medicine, and those that come from imaging, which is what I specialize in. Under imaging, you have two departments. You have radiology. A colleague of mine has been here to talk about radiology before.
Yes.
And you have nuclear medicine, which is why I'm here today. On the lab side of it, there's so much more going on. You have things like anatomical pathology, you have microbiology, you have clinical chemistry. Hopefully listeners have heard about some of these things.
Okay.
You have hematologists and a whole bunch of things that they do with labs and modern equipment.
That's in the first part.
That's in the first part.
Okay, so the nuclear part, now your part.
Yes.
How about your part?
Oh, you're preempting a few discussions here. The nuclear part, first of all, the thing I need to get out there is do not be afraid when you hear nuclear medicine.
Because it sounds like nuclear sounds like, when you talk about nuclear, you're thinking warheads, you're thinking...
Exactly. There's two sides of every coin. Nuclear technology can be used for nefarious purposes and can also be used for good. So you're looking at diagnostics, which is why we're here today, and treatment. Quite a number of patients out there already know that there is avenues of treatment such as radiotherapy.
Yeah.
And that's actually using nuclear technology. So lots to talk about.
Radiotherapy. All right, guys, if you're out there and you're familiar with some of this, and or you're not familiar and you're a little more just as curious as we are, feel free to reach out to us on the numbers we mentioned. Plus, we're giving out vouchers. So it's once again 0144899181.
Yes, indeed. So, doctor, since we're here talking about the importance, or just basically the role that diagnostic medicine play, and just the efficiency of outpatients and just their treatment, what is the importance of diagnostic medicine in the overall medical field?
I'm glad that you've talked about efficiency. The role that diagnostic medicine plays, it's something that cannot be overstated. No amount of praise is enough for what goes on here. Yeah, it really is the cornerstone of modern medicine.
Nice.
You want accurate and efficient diagnostics. So if these things are critical to the system, what results is efficient therapeutic plans for our patients. You want to enable optimal recovery. You want to enable the smallest amount of time spent in the hospital, the least amount of disease complications, and the smallest amount of therapeutic side effects.
Okay.
What diagnostic medicine does is enables you to provide all of that and actually give an excellent health service.
In quick time?
In quick time, hopefully. In fact, the WHO, the World Health Organization, has realized that this is such a big thing that it has annually released a list of all the equipment and all the diagnostic tests that are needed for essential healthcare. And we're not talking about just Nigeria, we're talking about the whole world.
Okay.
And currently that list has over 100 different tests on it. And this is coming...
100 different tests?
Over 100 different tests that make up an essential diagnostic service.
Okay.
Yeah, some of them...
So can you give me an example? So, I'm trying to break this down for, like I said, the non-radio listeners. So if we're talking about 100 diagnostic tests, right, what's an example of one of them?
I'll give you a very easy example.
Okay.
COVID-19 PCR test.
That's an obvious one.
That's an obvious one, yeah. But other things that most patients are used to, full blood count. It's one of the things that's usually done. You have fasting blood sugars for our diabetics out there.
Okay.
You know, you have other things like a CT scan or a nuclear medicine scan, ultrasound even. You know, these are things that people deal with day to day.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, so specifically, you are a consultant in nuclear medicine. So, now I think we should unravel this. Like, let's unpack it, So we'd like you to give us like a general overview of what nuclear medicine is. Because, I have a radio background. So I'm listening to nuclear and I'm thinking, are we talking, like you said, can be used for nefarious purposes. So what's it about exactly?
All right. So the beauty of this thing called nuclear medicine is it's literally what it sounds like.
Okay.
What you hear is what you get.
Isn't that scary?
So let me break it down for you. Nuclear medicine is a medical specialty which uses nuclear technology for diagnosing and for treating different medical conditions. In a typical nuclear medicine unit, we use small amounts of radioactive substances called radiopharmaceuticals.
Okay. Wait, let me write that down. Radioactive medicines called radiopharmaceuticals.
Yes.
Okay.
So like I said, what it sounds like is what you get. Radio stands for radioactive, and pharmaceutical is medicine.
Okay.
So it's nuclear medicine, radioactive medicine.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes absolute sense.
Yeah. So our radiopharmaceuticals are very specially made, and they do go to different target organs. The kind of radiopharmaceutical you get depends on the reason you've been sent for that test. So there are hundreds and hundreds of them. There are so many applications to nuclear medicine going across all systems in the body that you can actually think of. Yeah, so there's lots to learn there. There are basic steps to nuclear medicine. The first thing for all nuclear medicine tests is to give the patient that radiopharmaceutical. Yeah, and then from there, that's where we go with everything else.
So start to figure out what other problems or what other things to look out for.
Yeah.
But before you respond, though, I think we have a call here.
Yeah, let's see if that is. Hello?
Hello?
Yes, hello, good evening.
Good evening.
Yes, your name, ma'am, please.
My name is Ife.
Ife, where are you calling us from, please?
I'm coming from Ibadan.
All right, go ahead.
Yes, I just want to ask, there is a general belief that once someone comes down with cancer, you are broke. Why is cancer treatment still very expensive, doctor?
All right. Well, thank you so much for that question, Ife.
Thank you so much, Ife.
Yeah.
Why are cancer patients broke?
Why does it seem like cancer patients are broke? Because I imagine from what she's asking, she's talking about
treatment process is quite expensive. The testing.
Expense.
All right. Thank you, Ife, for the question. Greetings to everyone in Ibadan. It's a very good question. The end result is these things are very expensive to purchase. We have a worldwide pharmaceutical, conglomerate which sets the prices of all these things.
Okay.
And for you to get in certain equipment into every country, that equipment is very expensive. And then you look at chemotherapy drugs, for example. They are some of the most expensive drugs on earth. In some countries, the government subsidizes these things. In other countries, people have to fend for themselves. Generally, having cancer, if you're gonna look at it on how it's gonna be in the pocket, it's not one of the
It's not a pocket-friendly thing.
It's not a pocket-friendly thing, simply because of the cost of the medications and usually how long you have to treat these patients for. And all the little things, logistical things around these things end up being that these patients spend more than, for example, on the common cold.
Well, all right. So if you've got more questions, just like Ife asked, please feel free to send them in, 0809-444-091. By the way, Ife, you're our first caller and you're entitled to a voucher courtesy Evercare Hospital. So please text us your details on 0809-444-0981. Okay, so we've talked about, we're still talking about, actually, talking about an overview of nuclear medicine. So what else should we be aware of?
All right, so keeping on this theme of what you hear is what you get, there's different kinds of tests, like I've said, in nuclear medicine. For example, you have a bone scan. which literally scans the bones. You have renal scans. Renal is kidney, so looking at the kidneys. You have such things like thyroid scans and brain scans and all. It is what it sounds like.
It is what it sounds like.
Yeah, so this is to demystify nuclear medicine, because this is something that is not regular in Nigeria.
Okay.
And
good question, though.
Yeah.
A quick question, rather. So why isn't it regular in Nigeria?
You're preempting me. I'm getting there.
Okay.
But I like the questions. I like that you're thinking about this. Yeah. But I can answer that. So, nuclear medicine, like I said, uses radiopharmaceuticals. The radio part of it is small amounts of radioactive materials.
Okay.
Currently, we do not produce them in Nigeria. We get them from abroad.
Okay.
Yeah, many different countries produce them. If your country has nuclear technology, for example, for electrical purposes, then you can also produce medical radioactive material.
Oh, I see now.
Yeah, so the great thing about them is they're quite available across the world, but the bad thing about them is the shelf life. So because over time, the strength reduces, you can only use them for a short period of time. Yeah, so we import them and we see our patients almost immediately.
Yeah, because
otherwise...
Yeah, the shelf life, like you mentioned.
Yeah. So in Nigeria, there are 3 facilities, 3 hospitals that can provide this service. And Evercare Hospital is the only one in Lagos and the only one in private.
Oh, wow.
So in the entire
So that's why it's such a big deal.
I like to think of it as a big deal. Okay. But I'm biased. But yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
But okay, so are we still done with this, or are we still unpacking some more about nuclear practice?
I'd like to say a little bit more.
Keep going.
Yeah, I'd like to say a little bit more. So the administration of these radiopharmaceuticals, you either do it in the vein or orally, they swallow it, or they inhale it. And like I said, this is very small amounts of radioactive materials. One of the questions I usually get at the hospital when a patient comes is, hey, but this radioactive stuff, isn't it going to hurt me?
I was just going to ask that question. Radioactive stuff sounds like, you should be worried about it.
Yeah. Like everything else in medicine, the risk of any treatment or any investigation is never absolutely zero. Yeah, but I cannot stress this enough. These are specially designed to have minimal effect on the body, if none. Actually, the rate of a reaction is maybe 2 to 3 cases per 100,000. That's how rare this is.
Wow. Okay.
Per 100,000 injections.
0.000.
Yeah. If you think about it,
minute fraction.
The risk of having a CT scan, that contrast is actually slightly more than that, and we have CT scans all the time. Yeah, but simply because we're saying nuclear, everyone is like, whoa.
Worried about it.
Whoa, stop what you're talking about. Yeah. So I just have to get it out there. Like, these are absolutely safe things. Nuclear medicine has been there for over 60 years, actually, in other countries. And that's actually longer than we've had MRI and CT and so on and so forth. It's just that...
We're just catching on in Africa.
We're catching on in Africa. Sad to say, but we're getting there. I'm happy by our progress.
We need to go for a very short break now. We'll come back on the other side. We'll take more of your questions, but keep them coming on to 0809-444-0981. Remember that our very first 3 callers and texters stand a chance to win 10,000 naira worth of voucher courtesy Evercare Hospital. Our guest in the studio is Dr. Jeffrey Joma, and he joins us live to talk to us about the importance of and the role of diagnostic medicine when it comes to the medical field. Please stay with us.
This is Smooth Health on the Drive.
The global observation that helps raise people's awareness.
Smooth Health is powered by Evercare Hospital, Lekki, transforming healthcare in Nigeria.
Hello everyone, it's Kabam Zasukwa. Stay tuned to Smooth 98.1. Love music, love life.
Press 1 for all your entertainment stories.
The buzz, the rumors, the big stories. Spice up your day with some entertainment on the Smooth Breakfast Show.
I'm one of the greatest, ain't no debating on it.
We've got got your top trending stories from the entertainment scene on the front burner. It's movies, fashion, music, and everything in between. Tune in to The Grapevine and keep up with the smooth paparazzi as we bring you up to speed with the latest in the world of entertainment. It's all on The Grapevine every Tuesday and Thursday from 9 a.m.
Perfect time.
This is Smooth Health on the Drive.
The global observation that helps raise people's awareness.
Smooth Health is powered by Evercare Hospital, Lekki. Transforming healthcare in Nigeria.
Welcome back. You're listening to Smooth 98.1. Love music, love life. It is the Smooth Drive right here. And we're inside the second half of Smooth Health on the Drive, brought to you by Evercare Hospital. My name is Judith at TV.
I'm Caddy Baker. And of course, we're talking all about nuclear medicine and what you should be aware of, amongst other things. So you can call us and also reach out to us via text messages, WhatsApp messages. Send them to 0809 444 0981. Rodis, I see your messages. That's it. Let's get to the first one. This one is from
Life.
Actually has no name to it.
Says Life from Festac.
Okay, Life from Festac. Okay, so says Kylie Judith, how you guys doing? I was unable to text last week. When are you going to talk about cancer again? Please. He needs some education on it. Can you talk about... So he wants the doctor to talk about prostate cancer. When's the best time to go for a checkup? Okay, that's a good one. Well, I guess we'll respond to that as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
Yeah, and this is from Cisco Delgado. It goes, Baker, please, in as much as nuclear is used to treat certain illnesses, I want doctor to tell us the side effects of nuclear medicine.
So the side effects.
Side effects.
Matthew Afolabi comes in to say, apart from cancer, in what case do you need a radiomedicine? As we all know that radioactive substances from which these drugs are made are not readily biofriendly. Are there any side effects associated with the use of these drugs? And
yes, and then we have this message here from Vincent, and it goes, hello, please help me ask the doctor how expensive is the process in his hospital.
All right. Okay, so you can go on.
All right, so thank you very much for the questions. The first one about prostate cancer screening. Depending on which organization you follow, there's some Americans and some Europeans, but overall we say that the age of over 40 for us men, 40, 45, 50, you can start going for cancer screening, and that's usually an exam by a urologist or a doctor.
Okay. I think the other question is side effects of nuclear medicine.
All right, so nuclear medicine, like I mentioned, most of the doses we have, small amounts of radioactive material. I cannot stress how small this is. When you guys come, you actually be surprised with how little it is. We follow a principle called ALARA, as low as reasonably achievable. Yeah, in that 60 years that nuclear medicine has been in play, the doses have gone from ridiculously high to ridiculously low because technology has improved our abilities to scan these patients with very little amounts of activity. I would say that the most common thing that we get complained about is when you're putting in that IV line, because it hurts, obviously.
Okay.
That's the thing that patients are like, that's the worst part.
The IV line, like
putting in the line.
Of course,
yeah.
Everybody's worried about
Everybody doesn't like that. Nobody likes that. I don't like that. I don't like, even when I'm the one doing it to the patient, I feel equally bad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And apart from that, there's a small risk of, let's say, a little bit of a rash there, but that's a risk of that
just
cannulation. That cannulation is not a risk of the nuclear medicine itself per se. That being said, there are certain groups that we need to take certain care. Pregnant women and breastfeeding women. This is a group that in radiology and in nuclear medicine, we take special care of these patients. And the reasons for that are because a baby who's in the belly, getting cooked, if I may use that, and small children are at increased sensitivity to any form of radiation.
Yes,
so we don't want to give them unnecessarily. So if you're pregnant or you're breastfeeding and you need a nuclear medicine or a radiological exam, we do it by case. We need to look at your case and see the benefits versus the risks. But for the rest of us in the general population,
all good to go.
All good to go.
Okay, so also Matthew talked about, the case of radiomedicine. He talked about, side effects associated with the drugs. And are there side effects?
So the pharmaceutical part of the radiopharmaceutical is designed not to change how your body is working. We want to see how it's working in its natural state, or from the state of the disease, not to change anything in terms of how the body is working on that particular day. And because we're using those very small amounts, the chances of us changing anything on side effects are extremely minimal. I cannot stress this enough. It's extremely, extremely minimal. Yeah. And about the biofriendliness.
Yes.
Yeah. So, like I mentioned earlier, the shelf life is very limited. So just by itself, if you leave this stuff on the counter, for example, the one we use most common, every 6 hours, the strength divides by 2. So if you leave it for 6 hours, it could go for, let's say, 500 units to 250. And every 6 hours after that, then 125, then 62.5.
Is that a good thing? Because I'm trying to understand it.
It's a great thing.
Okay.
In terms of being biofriendly, in terms of the environment and the patient itself. It's not a great thing for scanning because we have to get you in early before this stuff goes down.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So what kind of state does a person need to be in to get you in for scanning? Is there like a process? Do you have to be induced? Is there something that we should be aware of?
Thankfully, for most nuclear medicine scans, there is no patient preparation. So there's
pretty much just walk in.
There's some tests where they'll tell you have to starve before you go there, don't eat, or don't take certain medications. For most nuclear medicine tests, the patient preparation is come as you are.
Okay.
Do not stop anything unless I advise you against it. And because this stuff needs to be imported, currently we don't do direct walk-ins. Once you show interest and that you need that test, then we order the stuff specifically for you, and then we give you a date. That being said, our turnaround is very quick. Usually within 2 weeks, 3 weeks, you get that test.
Just like that?
Just like that, yeah.
Okay, real quick, let's get back to some of the questions that we have for you, because time's not really much of our friend anymore on the show. But yeah, so we've talked about a number of things, right? We've talked about, you've unpacked how nuclear medicine works in general. But can you walk us through the common procedures, And also, while talking about that, can we also look at how to identify patients' illnesses? Beside diagnostic medicine aiding doctors to identify, patient's illness or disease, as well as proposing a treatment and a management plan, are there any other benefits, outside the procedures that you're going to walk us through? Are there also benefits for this type of medicine, this type of practice?
All right. I'll start with the second question because it's a much simpler one and less detailed. There's tons of benefits on top of what you mentioned to diagnostic imaging. Just to round off a few, like one of our clients who had a question just now. Screening. Yeah. So routine screening is something that diagnostic medicine plays an absolute impressive role. And I'll give you the example of what he said: the prostate cancer, but breast cancer as well. Yeah. You have diagnostic tests that can screen for certain markers in the blood that increase your chances of having breast cancer.
Yeah.
It can also be used as a triaging tool in emergency rooms. Nowadays, they do rapid malaria tests, even rapid COVID tests to see which route you should go into, whether it's super emergency
or just,
we can give you 2 minutes. Yeah. Diagnostic tests also help during the course of the therapy as prognostic markers. So figuring out how your disease is going to be in the future. And by that, I mean cases of, for example, recurrence of a cancer. There are certain biomarkers that we can measure in hospitals that allow us to predict how your disease is going to fare long-term after treatment. And that's amazing. Really.
Yeah, it is. It is. Okay, so you're going to walk us through the procedure?
Yes. So one of the most common scans that we get is called a bone scan. Depending on who your doctor is, sometimes they'll call it an isotopic bone scan. Sometimes they'll call it bone scintigraphy. All these things mean the exact same thing.
Bone scan.
Yeah, bone scan. And it is what it sounds like, scanning the bones. And it's usually a whole body scan. And by that, I mean it's from the head all the way to the feet. Yeah? And it's all the bones in the body. We make sure that they're good. And for this particular investigation, the radiopharmaceutical is injected into a vein, IV. And depending on the reason for your scan, you either get scanned immediately or you have a wait of about 2.5 to 3 hours. And that's to allow that radiopharmaceutical to go from the blood into the bones so we get good quality pictures. Yeah?
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's talk about your thoughts on self-diagnosis. So what do you think about that?
Self-diagnosis, personally, I don't like it. From the medical point of view, I don't like it. From the personal point of view, I don't like it. Nowadays, self-diagnosis is proudly sponsored by Dr. Google, if you know what I mean. Yeah. And
it can be scary sometimes because you feel some type of way, then you go on Google and then you see all sorts of symptoms and you think, I really must have something, So, but then again, from a doctor's perspective, you were saying.
Yeah, so Dr. Google gives you excellent amounts of information, wonderful amounts of information. The question is what you do with it. Yeah, it will give you quite often worst case scenario, and you work from there. So what that results in is anxiety. And if you self-diagnose and get it wrong, quite often people who self-diagnose will self-medicate.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the dangers of taking the wrong medication or the wrong dose is significant. I mean, this is things that short term you may not feel anything, but long term you can lead to kidney problems or liver problems. So I cannot stress this enough. Self-diagnosis is not the right thing to do. I encourage you to find out as much information as you can using Dr. Google. That's fine. To ask the doctor, asking questions to your medical professionals is encouraging because we want you to participate in your healthcare, not just take what we're telling you. So asking questions is absolutely wonderful. Doing your research on your conditions and so on and so forth is excellent. But self-diagnosis and self-treatment is a no-go.
Okay, so I'm sure a lot of people out there are wondering what kind of diagnostic facilities are available at Evercare Hospital. Because you mentioned that at the start you talked about how Evercare is one of 3 hospitals that has a certain type of device device in Nigeria. So what kinds of diagnostic facilities do you have at Evercare Hospital?
All right, so for my side, it's the nuclear medicine side, and the kind of imaging camera we have there is called a gamma camera.
Okay.
Yeah, my colleague who came on the show earlier is from radiology. We have an MRI there, we have CT scans, we have ultrasound, we have fluoroscopy. Everything you need in medical imaging should be available for most cases at Evercare.
Okay.
We also have a lab, and our lab with its partners should also be able to provide you a one-stop place. Evercare is trying to become the one-stop place for you to have all your health needs
in one place,
satisfied in one place. Medical tourism outside Nigeria needs, we're trying to curtail that. If anything, we want medical tourism to Nigeria.
Yeah. That is the goal, right? Okay, so before I let you leave, though, I'd like you to parting words for our listeners out there.
Parting words is, if you go to the hospital early, if you present early, quite often the length of stay of hospital and the seriousness of the disease is limited. Yeah. We have a tendency of waiting it out. I'll be fine. Let's see how it goes.
Till it gets bad.
And for 99% of diseases, the waiting game is a losing game. Yeah, I cannot stress this enough. If you don't feel well, present to your nearest health facility. See how it goes from there. Do not wait it out. Healthcare is now care. It is not tomorrow care.
All right. Okay. So finally, though, just before we let you walk out of the studio, because we have a ton of questions and we haven't even sorted through those questions. How can the good people listening to the radio, reach out to you at Evercare Hospital? How can they find you at Evercare Hospital?
All right. Our physical location is Evercare Hospital. We're in Lekki, 1 Admiralty Way, here in Lekki, Lagos.
Durosimieti Drive?
Exactly, Durosimieti Drive. We have lots of information. Our website is www.evercare.ng. That's www.evercare.ng. We have an email address. That's info@evercare.ng. info@evercare.ng. And lastly, you can also get to us by telephone. Our contact center is 081 398 50710.
Okay.
Yeah.
Once again, it's 081-398-50710. If you just joined us, where have you been? You've missed a ton of good stuff. We talked all about nuclear medicine, and it's been quite an insight. In fact, I've learned so much. Very special guest today is Dr. Jeffrey Adam Joma, and he's been unpacking everything that we need to know concerning nuclear medicine, amongst other things. Thank you so much, Doctor. Pleasure having you here.
Thank you very much. I enjoyed myself.
I do hope that you come back again, though, because I feel like there's more we could talk about, because there's just not enough time to talk about this.
Next time, then.
Lagos, stay with us. There's more to come in a few more minutes. We'll be serving you with some more intelligent talk and great music. This is the Smooth Health Show, and of course, we'll be back after the short breather, so please stay with us.